What would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Forget the money. Better to have a short...
Hey, thanks for watching. My name is Christine Ann Melvin, aka Woman Walking a Wire. I'm going to do a tutorial today on the Granny's Pocket Bag. So we're going to take 2 of these granny squares and we're going to turn it into a reversible pocket bag, mesh bag. This pattern is made specifically to be used with a bunch of my granny square patterns, one of them being the Granny's Eye Granny Square here, but the alternate version where it's a little bit smaller, so it ends in 96 stitches. So any of my patterns that end in 96 stitches are going to be compatible with this pattern, although there are some that I don't recommend that you use, and that would be things that have like a chain center, unless you do something that's going to secure these chains down with the folding and unfolding of it. It's going to get a lot of wear and tear, and those chains are going to get snagged and get pulled out of place. Another one that would work, but again, unless you take some steps to secure down the leaf, the Mary Jane is the right size, but unless you've taken steps to secure the leaf down, I don't recommend using this one as is. So you could sew it down, you could glue it down, and then this one would be okay to use, but otherwise it's going to get a lot of wear and tear, and that leaf is going to take a lot of abuse. So I have a list of patterns that will work written into the pattern. It is free on Ravelry for how to make this bag, the written pattern. Other ones that will work: the alien head, the night owl, Granny's heart, the sapphic granny playing in the poppies, the citrus granny, grandpa's granny square, the granny burger. That's a short list. There's a few others that would work as well. So to get started on round 1, we need, I'm using my 4mm hook. I am using worsted weight yarn. I am using a green that matches this green here. We're going to take our 2 squares and we're going to face them right side facing each other. Okay, so they have to be right side facing, and we're going to start in the stitch right before you get to the corner stitches. So these squares have 3 single crochet in each of the corner chain spaces. So we're going to start in the stitches right before, the 1 stitch right before you get to those 3 single crochet in the chain space. So for this one, sometimes I have to look at it from both sides to see where exactly I want to put it. So that's the first stitch. Here's the other first stitch right before you get to those corner stitches. So we're going to start by making 1 single crochet through both of those squares in that stitch, and then in the 3 single crochet in the corner, we're going to do 2 single crochet into each of those. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1 and 2. And then we're going to single crochet these 2 squares together, working into the next 21 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And we're going to repeat that until we get to the next corner. So it's going to be 2 single crochet into each of the 3 corner stitches, and then single crochet the next 21 stitches. When you get to this final corner and you finish the last increase, we'll meet back there. Okay, so I just did my last increase in the corner stitches. Now we're going to do 1 more single crochet through both of these squares in the next stitch. And now I'm going to open it up, and I'm only going to work through one of the squares, and it's going to be the one that's furthest away from me. So for the next 19 stitches, single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And then we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch to join, and do not fasten off. I'm going to pull this loop loose for just a minute because I just want to give you a tip, which is as you're working these squares together, take a look on both sides to make sure, because like I got all the way around and then realized that I had skipped one only on one of the squares, but it was on the back side, so I didn't notice until I got to the very end, and then I had to undo it, and that was really annoying. So anyway, you're going to end up with 108 squares around, or I'm sorry, you're going to end up with 108 stitches around at the end of round 1 here, and we're going to go ahead and go on to round 2. So round 2, we're going to chain 6, and that's going to count as our first double crochet and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and double crochet into the next. And now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, double crochet into the next. And we're going to continue doing that all the way around. Chain 3, skip 2, double crochet into the next. You're going to repeat that all the way around, but before you join here, I'll meet you back right here and we'll do this last step together. Okay, almost back to where we started. I did my double crochet here in this stitch, and instead of chaining 3, instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and double crochet into the 3rd chain of this beginning chain 6. And that's how we're going to finish that off. So the end of round 2, you should look like this. And you should have 36 stitches, 36 chain spaces around. Okay. So round 3 is going to be the same up through round 18. So I'm going to show you how to do round 3. And then we're going to continue making that same formation for 15 rounds. So to start with, we're going to chain 6. And again, it's going to count as our first double crochet and chain 3. I wasn't counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. and then into the next chain space. So that's going to be this one. This is the one that we're in currently. This is the one we're going into. We're going to go ahead and double crochet into the chain space. And then we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to double crochet into the next chain space. Chain 3. Double crochet into the next chain space. Continue that all the way around. And I will meet you back here at the beginning. I'll show you how to finish off the round, and then we're going to continue working that same formation for 15 total rounds. Okay, and I'm almost back where I started. I put my double crochet into the last chain space before I get to my beginning chain space in chain 6. And again, instead of doing chain 3, we're going to double crochet again into the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 6 to join. And we're going to repeat this cycle, and this is how you should be looking at this point. We're going to repeat that 15 more times. And you can actually, you don't have to make it as tall as I do, or you make it taller than I do. Although, if you make it any bigger, you might start having trouble getting it to fit into its pocket. So keep that in mind. And making it smaller, you want to make sure that, you know, it's going to be tall enough to be able to hold whatever you're going to carry in it. So repeat that step 15 more times. You'll have 36 stitches around and 36 chain spaces. And I will meet you when we've both completed up to round 18. Okay, so I have finished up through round 18, and I've got this nice mesh going here. Round 19, again, we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and double crochet into the next chain space, chain 3, double crochet into the next chain space, and we're going to continue like that all the way around. We're just going to do something different when we finish off round 19 here. So continue like that all the way around, chain 3, double crochet into the next chain space, and when you double crochet into the last chain space, we'll meet up there. Okay, so now I double crocheted into my last chain space here, and I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of our beginning chain 6 to end off round 19. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, now we're going to make the top of the bag here. You can change colors at any point. I'm kind of playing a game of yarn chicken here with some random yarn that I have in my stash. So at any moment, I don't know, I might have to change to a different color. We'll see. All right, round 20, we're going to just do 3 single crochet into each chain space around, and we're not going to join and we're not going to fasten off. So 1, 2, 3 into that first chain space, 1, 2, 3 into that next chain space, and continue all the way around, and I'll meet you back here where we started. Okay, I just finished those 3 single crochet into each chain space around, and I am back where I started. I'm not gonna join and I'm not gonna fasten off, and you should have 108 stitches again around the top of the bag here. Okay, so for the for rounds 21 through 24, we're gonna do a repeat, and we're gonna just work in the round. We're not gonna slip stitch to join. We're just gonna keep on going. So always make sure to put a stitch marker in your first stitch so that you know when you're done. All right, so in continuous rounds here, we're going to single crochet into each stitch around. So I'm just going to make my first stitch, and I'm going to pop a stitch marker in there, and I'm going to single crochet around and we're going to do that for rounds 21 through 24. So when you have completed your final stitch on round 24, I will meet you there. Okay, I just finished the last stitch in round 24. And again, I'm not going to slip stitch. I'm just going to keep going in continuous rounds. So round 25, let me take this marker out. I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to chain 75. So I'm not going to make you listen to me count out 75 chains. I'm going to pause. I'm going to chain 75 and then I'll come back. Okay, I've got my chain 75 here, and we're going to skip 30 stitches. And I already counted out my 30 stitches, so we're going to skip 30. Oh, okay, disaster averted. So I chained 75. I'm going to skip 30 stitches, which I've already counted out, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 23 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, we'll do that again. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Okay. And we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to chain 75 again. And again, I'm not going to make you watch me chain 75. So chain 75 and meet me back here. Okay, so I've got my chain 75 done. Again, we're going to skip 30 stitches, which I've already counted out. And we are going to single crochet into the next 23 stitches, starting in that next stitch after you skip 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, oops, and 23. Okay, so that is back where we started. Okay, so we're not going to join and we're not going to fasten off. And we're going to have a total of 48 stitches and 2 chains of 75. So round 26, we're going to continue on in continuous rounds. And we're going to single crochet into our first stitch here. And then you're going to single crochet into each of these chains, each of these 75 chains. I'm going to pause for that. Okay, so single crocheted in each of these chains. Next, I'm going to single crochet in the next 24 stitches. Basically across to your next chain of 75. Just going to single crochet in the next 24. And then we're going to single crochet into each chain. I'm going to pause until I get to the other side of this chain. I am almost done working into these 75 chains. Okay, oh, 2 more. All right, now we're going to single crochet sorry, into the next 23. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, let's do that again. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Okay, now we're back where we started. Oops, I keep pulling my stitches out. All right, and you'll have a total of 198 stitches around for the end of round 26 here. Hard for me to show you how it looks. Okay. All right, rounds 27 and 28. So we're just going to do 2 continuous rounds of single crochet around, and I will meet you back here at the end of round 28. Okay, so this is my last stitch for round 28, and now we're going to just finish it off, and this is optional, but it'll add some support to your handles. We're just going to do on round 29 slip stitch all the way around. So just slip stitch in every stitch around. It's going to give your handles more support so they don't stretch out as easily. But like I said, it is optional. And you can also do a round of slip stitch around the inside. So this is the inner part of the handle here. So you could join new yarn and you could do a round of slip stitch around the inside of this as well, just to give it a little bit more structure. These bags, you know, depending on what kind of material you use, if you use cotton, they don't stretch as much, but if you're using acrylic, they stretch a lot. And these are great bags for produce. They hold more than you would think that they hold. So I'm going to go ahead and keep on slip stitching all the way around, and then I'm going to zoom out and show you the final look of the bag, and then we'll go over putting a button and a little closure loop on it as well. Okay, here's our finished bag. Nice and stretchy. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. So to fold it up, you're going to stick your hand in this pocket, and you're going to turn the pocket inside out. And then you can go ahead and tuck all these pieces inside. All right, now we need to make the little closure and we need to put a button on it. So let me go find a good button. All right, I think I finally picked a button. That was harder than I thought it was going to be. Well, I don't know. Yeah, okay, I think I picked my button. Okay, so for this next part, we are looking for the part of the pouch that is not connected to the mesh bag. So we made this opening, we crocheted the squares together, but then we only crocheted along one edge, and that's the edge that the bag is connected to. So we're going to connect our button to the piece that is not connected to the bag. I have a pretty large button here. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want to put it. And I think I'm going to put it about here. So like right above this chain space right here. But for different squares, it's literally just below the top of the pocket here. So go ahead and sew that into place, and then we're going to make our loop. And we're going to sew the button on first to make sure that our loop is going to be big enough to get around our button once it's sewn on. All right, I've got my gigantic button sewn on here. And now we need to go on the other side of this pouch. We need to find the center stitch. So just like we already have this right here. We'll go to the one right next to it. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and attach some yarn here and chain 17. Then before, I'm going to go ahead and just slip stitch this in here, but I'm not going to cut it yet because I just want to make sure that this is going to go around my button because my button is really big. Yeah, that's going to be fine. That's going to be fine. Okay, so yeah, once you've determined that your loop is big enough, and also that it's secure enough. So if it's too loose and your button is smaller, then you might want to do a few less chains. Maybe you want to chain 15 or 14 instead. Just as long as you have a good closure on here. It doesn't have to be super tight, you know, just to kind of keep it secure. And then I'm gonna sew these ends in for the loop that I made, and we're done. We're done. And now we have this nice reusable bag made out of granny squares that we probably had laying around. I know I have a couple hundred laying around. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this pattern. Bye.